Hey. Okay, welcome back to Pillars of Wellness, where we're going to meet weekly and we're going to talk about sleeping well, thinking well, moving well, and eating well in order to bring balance to our life, particularly over 40 in these perimenopausal years, so that we can really just optimize our health. So, I want to talk today about exercise and hormones because it's something that isn't talked about enough. We all just think we need to exercise more. Sometimes that's not the case. So, okay, we know exercise is good for us, but it is actually a stressor. When you exercise, you put stress on your body. That can be good, but too much of anything, right, can become a bad thing as well. So, what are the hormones that exercise plays on? Well, we have our sex hormones, right? So, we have progesterone, estrogen, testosterone is the main ones. There is maybe a little bit messed up at this period of our life, right? So, testosterone, especially, it's going to play a role in how we build muscle. And then estrogen is going to play a role in how our body sends messages to itself about how we store fat, which is also, again, insulin's right in there, and cortisol. Cortisol being the stress hormone. And those two are so closely interrelated as well. So when we exercise, these hormones are needed, they're necessary, but they're also affected. So oftentimes, you might think, well, I'm doing all the things right. Maybe you're not. Okay. But if you are in a phase of life, you're like, okay, I'm doing all the things right, but I'm stuck. I'm gaining weight. I don't feel good. I'm tired. Well, maybe again, it's because we're doing too much. So let's talk about stress. Again, these things are all just this big circle, like they're all so interconnected. Talk about stress because we've talked about exercise being a stressor. If you're in a period of life that has a lot of stress, you're going to have really high cortisol levels in your body, right? So perhaps can you resonate with any of these things? Your sleep is disrupted, you're irritable in the middle of the afternoon, your metabolism has slowed down. Those three things of themselves are indicators that your life is stressful and you might not recognize it because oftentimes when we're just doing life, we don't recognize it. And this was me. If I look at last fall, this time last year, about a year ago, actually, until June, the cortisol levels in my body were so high with Alexis being sick that my metabolism was just like plummeted. I would exercise, it would stress me out worse, right? But in the middle of it, we don't always see it. So I want to ask you three questions. Okay. Do any of these things resonate with you? Do you need that cup of coffee in the morning? Like, do you actually, you need it? You can't function without it. And then in the middle of the afternoon, you either find like you're super anxious or you're just really wound up. And then you get home at night and you just can't settle down unless you have that glass of wine, right? If that's you, definitely you are in a high cortisol period of life. And if that is you, then yeah, you still need to exercise, but you have to pick the right kind of exercise. And you need to look at low impact exercise. So, what are we talking? Well, of course, yoga and Pilates, right, are right up my alley. But it's just restorative practices, anything that can calm you down. Now, that might still mean that you go for your run, but what if I suggested maybe not going as far? Or if I suggested mindful running. So what do I mean by that? Because I love to put, my headphones in and just like not think about anything. That has its place. But I started this a few years ago, even just with walking, or I know I'm not taking my podcast. I'm just mindfully doing this exercise. So when you're walking briskly or you're running, like think about what your body's doing. Feel your heel touch the ground, feel your foot roll through, feel your body push off the toes, feel your stride, notice your arms swing, and really just get very rhythmic with it. And then instead of listening to music or a podcast and being distracted, let your ears, your sense of sound actually listen to what's happening. So right now outside my window, it's very, very windy, but I can hear the wind. And when we actually use our senses in a mindful, slow down process, it reduces cortisol. So give it a try. I would love it. Even if you're not, running, if you're going out for a walk or you're like jumping on a stationary bike, you're doing anything, you're weightlifting. just like feel the lift of that weight, feel the arm move. And I guarantee you will feel better with it, just with that mindful movement piece. Okay. So, exercise, we don't want it to be too much of it, too high of intensity of it if we're in a stressful period of time. The other thing, I love HIIT workouts, but a 15-minute HIIT workout is going to be better for you than trying to do a 45-minute HIIT workout. We want to just do a little bit less. You're actually going to see, and the research shows that over 40, shorter bursts of high intensity exercise give you better results than long durations of exercise. So just get it in, get it done. I love that for my schedule, right? So we're exercising, but another big thing, and this is where food and movement, you can't talk about one without the other, is that so often we're not eating enough if we're exercising. I'm guilty for this. Especially if I'm stressed out, I tend to just not eat. And not a good thing, right? Because then we end up in our bodies with really low levels of protein, low iron, low calcium, vitamin D this time of year gets low, right? Low magnesium. So, how do you know if that's you? Well, for me, it's oftentimes in the afternoon, and I have to still like literally once a week remind myself of this because it'll be like 3:30 and I'll be like, "Oh my god, I feel dead. Like what's wrong with me? Am I sick? I should get a coffee." And then I'll like go, "Oh wait, oh shoot, you forgot to eat lunch." So we need to eat. Now, you might think you're doing good, but I'm going to ask you these questions. I made a list. Do you have brittle nails? Is your hair thinning? You're having hair loss, eczema, food cravings, or period problems. So those are symptoms that maybe you're not eating enough. Okay. So the solution is fairly simple. Eat more, but eat really nutrient dense foods. So you want to get that iron in, right? So you need that red meat. If you're vegan, maybe looking at, things like kale that have a lot of, they're dense in iron, but especially in winter and fall, you want to eat a lot of cooked vegetables. We're going to talk about that in a couple of weeks, actually, about like the science of Ayurvedic and how to nourish yourself within the seasons. But you want to think about zinc, right? Especially with our immune system right now, we're going into flu season. You want to make sure you're getting foods with zinc, your omegas. I love salmon. I can't afford to eat it all the time, and Alexis hates it. So I supplement daily with omega-3, also for my brain health, right? Folate. So if you're having crazy periods, I was actually, when I was like bleeding to death every month, had to supplement with folate to make sure I had enough in my body, and antioxidants, right? So, just, that's where your fruits and your vegetables, your leafy greens, all of those things come into play. We definitely want to start with sound nutrition. But then, of course, sometimes we're busy, right? And that's where we want to talk about supplements can play a role in helping us optimize our nutrition. But then sometimes, then I hear, like, and I'll get the food diaries from clients and like they're eating really well. And I'm like, okay, well, we're still not seeing it. Maybe their skin's a little off pallor, right? They're low energy still. Oftentimes, we will stop absorbing our nutrients. This is pretty common, especially in Western civilization where we eat so much processed foods. We can end up with a leaky gut. We eat too much processed food, like I say, and we have chronic inflammation, right? So this, again, if this is you, if you're like, I'm eating all the right things, but I'm not feeling well, you might want to look into that, a leaky gut sort of thing going on. What's the solution? So, well, again, whole foods, nutrient dense stuff, but then even then, right? If there's a problem, if the gut is leaking, we need to heal it. How do we heal it? Your probiotic, right? I like a probiotic, a prebiotic, a postbiotic. So I take a Trebiotic. It has all three of those things. And it's been a huge, huge game changer for me since I started that with my digestive health, my regularity, and like bloating. I'm just not bloated all the time anymore. So I'm consistent throughout the day. And then phytonutrients. So there are many days, like again, sometimes I don't eat enough, right? And so at 3 o'clock, I'll be going out to get the kids. I'm like, shit. Oh, can I swear on Facebook? Sorry, maybe Facebook's gonna ban that. Anyway, I might say that. And then I haven't eaten something and there's not time. So that's where I'll grab, just a shaker bottle I throw in macadamia nut milk, found that at Costco, love it. A scoop of, chocolate whey powder. I prefer whey over pea protein because I find pea protein gritty, but then I'll throw phytonutrients in there. So it's a scoop of red, a scoop of green, a scoop of yellow. So I'm getting those things for heart health. I'm getting the anti-inflammatories, right? I'm getting the things that I don't eat. I don't eat enough vegetables. I really don't. So I can help myself out and supplement that way. And then you guys know I'm going to talk about collagen because collagen is proven to help heal the gut. You put collagen with a prebiotic, and you're really going to amplify that process. So that's a time when, then again, supplements do come into play. So we've talked about exercise, right? Are we doing too much of it? I mean, some of us are just not doing any, then we need to move, but maybe we're doing too much of it. Are we eating enough? How is our gut health? So they're all related into, again, that hormone regulation. But the last thing I want to say before I jump off is when you're picking exercise over 40, I think the most important thing is that you do you. So it's so easy, right? Scrolling on Instagram or Facebook and see what people are doing. Oh my gosh, she's running a marathon at like 50. Isn't she incredible? Oh wow, she's strength training. Oh wow, she's doing this. What works for you? So, first thing, any exercise you're doing, you need to look at how you feel right after your exercise session, how you feel 2 hours later, and how you feel the next morning. So, pretty common, like right after your workout session, you're gonna be like, whew, I'm tired. Like, that's okay. We want to be tired. We need to put in some effort in order to change the body. But 2 hours later, how are you? And if you are completely spent, exhausted, you did too much. That wasn't the best choice for your body. 2 hours later, you want to kind of feel like, whoa, I feel great. So glad I did that. I have had times where I've done too much. You know what you need to do then? You need to go and take a sleep. You need to take a power nap, 20 minutes, let your body recover. That 20-minute cat nap, that's when it can be so vital. Then the day after your workout, how are you feeling? Some muscle soreness is normal, right? 24 to 48 hours after workout, you have something called DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. It's these little tiny tears in your muscles. We need to break down our muscles in order to build them back up, but it should be mild. So I remember days in college where I like couldn't brush my teeth or I like, literally couldn't walk down the stairs because I was just so sore. That was too much. And too much creates inflammation in the body. So listen to that. A little bit of soreness the next day, like my abs are a little bit sore. I went back, and those of you that know me from the physique days when I was a personal trainer, I had this ball program. I'm sure everyone in Dawson Creek did it. I pulled it out like 18 years later. It is still like the best program ever. So I've been doing it this week on day 2. Definitely feel my abs, but it's that good sore. It's like, oh yeah, I'm aware that they're there. I'm getting ready for Punta Cana next week, last minute workout. Anyway, I digress. But you want to make sure what you're doing brings you joy, because if it doesn't bring you joy, life's too short. Life's too short. Be you, own you. Do you love Tai Chi? Do you love chair yoga, right? Do you love running? Do you love CrossFit? Do you love like step aerobics? Do you love recumbent bikes? Do you love dancing? Do you love Zumba? There are so many options no matter where you live, because we have this great thing as well. We have online. So if you're looking for some recommendations, I have a couple trainers I follow online. I've purchased a couple of their programs. Drop that down. If you need access, you're like, help me out, I need some stuff I can do at home, be happy to share that with you. If you're looking for any supplements, let me know, because I'd be happy to recommend what I'm using. Not everything is for everybody, but I am just on this mission to share all I've learned in the past really 5 years, where I've really dug deep into my own health and wellness, and I'm determined to help you guys all live your best life and feel your best. So if you had any value into this, I would love if you would just, hit that heart emoji, drop a comment. That helps me out with my Facebook algorithm. Share it with a friend. And then let me know if you have any questions. What questions do you have regarding sleep, regarding eating, around your mindset, around moving your body? I'm going to come in every week and just talk about something. And just really, at the end of the day, like I said, be you, do you, because you are enough. Okay, we will see you next week from the beaches of Punta Cana. Bye-bye.